having to, a lot of people, if they do not have a job, cannot refinance their home, obviously for monies, and they're forced to look at a very young age, taking retirement plan distributions prematurely.
Right.
Meaning, let's just say they've left a company, they have a 401k, they've rolled it to an IRA, or they have existing IRAs and they say, I have no other monies, I have to take this. If they're working, if they're under the age of 59 and a half, you're looking at federal and state income taxes due on that distribution, as well as a 10% premature penalty. So depending upon your tax bracket, that could be a very high amount of taxes, anywhere from 10 to over 50% on tax rates that it's drawing out of your retirement.
Right. Well, that's, you know, I remember hearing stories earlier in my career about Laventhal and Horvath going bankrupt and not having a funded pension plan, and people getting off the beaches in Florida and having to get jobs again. But this whole aspect of people taking retirement quickly, you know, what it does to the performance of the business, turning it in from long-term goals into short-term goals, the whole liquidating of the company prematurely, I think that has an effect on entrepreneurship as well.
Absolutely, absolutely. And I think people are faced with these decisions and, you know, struggling to keep their family afloat. This is all that they can do. So, you know, with these premature penalties of the extra 10%, there are some exemptions or people that they don't have to, that they could forego that 10% penalty, whether it's being permanently disabled or tuition expense or first-time home buyer, etc. However, the state and federal taxes are still due.
Right.
So if you can prolong taking those distributions to a different tax year in order to avoid being at the height, let's just say you have earned income in 2012 and that tax onto your additional income, you could launch you into another tax bracket, which is really difficult. So here's a couple things that people can do in order to discuss, you know, how do you recover if you start taking a drawdown of retirement too early on in life? So the first would be find some type of employment, which ties into what Mark Kazee was discussing. You know, if you cannot find a job that in your industry that's comparable in salary or any kind of industry that's comparable, then look at attempt to perm opportunity. That is a preview, just as Mark had said, for possible permanent employment.
Because I have a bicycle store and a shoe store that offered me a job if I retire.
See, there we go. There's
I'm always setting up for my retirement job.
Supplemental and free fitness, according to both of those too. Restart 401k contributions if you are able to get another job and go back to work. Starting IRA contributions or 401k contributions immediately, especially if there is a match component with that company, is a absolute must. And if you're over the age of 50, do the catch-up contribution as well, which can be an additional if they have, in addition to the standard annual limits.